this is the final day here. We're going to be cranking out some interviews with some really, really cool booths. We have another one here. Sir, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And please, could you just tell everybody at home, you know, your name, your booth, and what you have?
Okay, my name is Kenny Estes, and I'm the owner of Dragon Ass Lures. We're in booth 113.
You have a great name.
I love, yeah.
What's the story there?
Well, I actually come up with the name about 30 years ago when I started making jigs. And I don't know how it came to me, but it did.
And it just stuck.
It just stuck.
Mm. What made you want to get into the bait business?
Well, many years ago, I was fishing the Upper James, and I could not get I couldn't find the right jig. I'm a really big old school jig fisherman, and I wanted a really small one for smallmouth, something a little unique. And back then it was hard to find anything smaller than a 1/4 ounce. So I started making my own. I learned how to make my own. From that, I started making wood plugs and little snake baits, and it just took off from there. And I've always loved fishing, and I love making baits. So now I'm retired. Now all I do is make baits.
That's awesome. So what is the first bait that you made? And we'll take a look at everything here, but
yeah.
What is the first bait that you made?
Jigs.
Jigs?
100%. Small for smallmouth.
Okay.
They did really well. Caught a lot of fish on them. And still make jigs. And one of them, as a matter of fact, this is something sort of new to me that I just started doing. And it's almost an imitation of a fuzzy dice. Those things are pretty hot right now, and I want to turn one into a jig. They've been accepted well here, and a lot of people. I bought 40 some, and this is my last one.
What else you got?
Okay, I paint a lot of like crankbaits, if you can see that, and it's got hooks. That one and this jerk bait.
That's a cool color.
Yeah, it's a chrome bait with transparent paint on it, so it doesn't take away from the chrome. It has a unique gleam to it, or finish.
Oh, dude, that is really cool. The eyes on that thing is remarkable.
Yeah, they're all 3D eyes. This is another one, and it's the jerk bait.
I love that paint color on there. That is wild. How long does it take you to decide on a color that you want to use?
Well, a lot of times I'll see something online and then either duplicate it or look at it and say, you know, what would I do to make this better? I'm always asking, you know, how could this be better? And I go with that. And a lot of it's trial and error. I may paint 3 different lures that I keep for myself before I find one that I think will sell good.
How many designs do you want to have? Like, you started off with jigs. What made you decide, like, okay, I want to do the jerkbait next versus the crankbait, or did you want to do everything next at the same time?
Well, as I started learning, it became fun, and it took off from there. We are kind of scaling back and getting and specializing in a few lures more than others, but we've still got a lot of inventory. I got to get through that.
Is it just you that does everything?
Everything.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot.
What did you do before you retired?
I owned a hardscape company. We used to do the home and garden shows. We would. It was my roots go way back to tree work.
Really?
Yeah, I did tree work for many years, and then that branched into landscaping. Landscaping such as drainage and grading issues, different elevations, and then from that branched into hardscapes. We would do paver patios, walkways, fireplaces, fire pits, stuff like that. I want outdoor night lighting and sprinkler systems, the whole package. That's pretty cool.
Do you need how do you get into tree work? Is that more of like understanding what trees should go where, or more of like pruning, or what is that?
It's more pruning, taking down.
Okay,
I was a
gotcha.
climber, and my dad was a climber, and that's how I got into that so easily. I climb up and take them down in pieces. You see guys doing it on podcasts all the time now.
That's hardcore. Wow.
And that's where I grew up doing it. But from that, I got tired of climbing and got in, started my own business, and it was quite successful.
What got you into fishing in general? Is that something that you've always been
My
a passion?
dad took me fishing when I was a kid. I still go back to the same place I went to when I was 6 years old, and still deal with those folks and put in and fish there and recommend it, highly.
That's really cool. What do you got over there on the other side?
Okay, these are our signature baits. These little guys here they represent shad, obviously. We've got two of them here for you. And that one's a thread fin, and this one's more of a blueback herring. And obviously without the hooks. What makes these guys different are their floaters. They're not your typical fast sinking swim baits. You can work them near the surface, like an injured shad that's alone by itself away from the school, or it'll crank down about 3 or 4 foot, and it's perfect for working next to boat docks or flats that have stumps or weed beds or points. Excellent points.
How long did it take you to come up with the idea, the design, and then make the bait?
Well, I've got to be honest. I don't make the bait. I actually buy blanks.
Gotcha.
Of them. But painting them, they really do look like a shad. So I just went with that and started painting them, and that's our best seller.
That's really, really cool. And I think you have another bait.
I have one more. This was our original signature bait. I call that a ripping bait. And it's different. It imitates a baiting, a little thread fin fry, and you work it completely different than you do any other type of like a rattle trap or one of those lipless baits. This one you work like a plastic worm, and when you lift it and drop it, because you tie right here about a third of the way back, and from that point forwards, it's got a flat head. When you lift it, it's going to vibrate like crazy. And when you drop it, it flutters. And that's exactly what a shad does when it dies. It drops to the bottom, gets a surge of energy, and darts up, and then flutters back. And just like a worm, when you lift it and drop it, when you stop lifting, that's when they strike it, and they engulf this thing all the way down. And I guess in the past 3 or 4 years, I've modified it so many times, and I've come up with the perfect hook. I went from a 10 to an 8, and then from an 8 to a 6. The 6 was too long, it was catching on everything, so I went with a short shank. So I've got the perfect marriage here between the hook, split ring, and the bait. And if you throw it on monofilament line, you get that stretch when you hook them big ones, and they will eat this. I've got pictures of my sister caught a 20-pound catfish, blue cat. 2 weeks later, she caught almost a 30-pound catfish on this lure right here, this little bitty 1-inch lure. And it's a lot of fun to fish because you can catch a crappie, a ring perch, a striper, a bass, and a catfish all on the same lure back to back. Anything that swims will eat this.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And we actually, on one trip we had on the James 2 years ago, my wife, my sister, myself, actually caught, we stopped counting at 50 catfish in 4.5, 5 hours, all of us throwing this one bait right here.
That's
Nothing
wild.
So that's been our signature bait for many, many years.
So we have we've got some comments here because we are live right now. Guys, again, we're live from the Richmond Bass Fishing Show and Expo here down at Doswell. Carrie says, he took the time to explain how to work the bait when I was at his booth yesterday. I really appreciate that. Such a nice man. Met him yesterday. Can't wait to use his lures as well. Guys, really appreciate those really nice comments. So besides the booth, if people are watching today, they can't make it in, how and where do they go to contact you to get your stuff?
They can hit me up on Facebook at Dragon Ass Lures, and they won't let me spell it with 3 words. That's inappropriate. So it has to be Dragon Ass Lures, and you can find me there.
Awesome stuff. Sir, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, what we're going to be doing, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be coming back with our next guest. So quick commercial break, hang in there.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing in the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8.
Oh, that would help, guys, if I actually unmuted the mic. Sorry, guys. So we are back with our next guest here. Just a quick little rapid fire. We have the man, the myth, the legend of Northern Virginia Kayak Association, Mr. Ortega. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I am hanging in there.
You surviving? We're at what, day 3 now?
We are day 3, and Saturday was the busiest Saturday I think in all of my expo experience. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. I've been down here probably every year for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never worked it. This is my first time working it. First time having a booth here. Huge shout out to Jake's for hooking us up with the spot. But no, busy is an understatement. A lot of talking, a lot of meeting, a lot of it's just a lot of fun. It really is.
It really is, and hopefully this has been good promotion for you guys. So, as always, for people that don't know, who are you and what is Northern Virginia Kayak Association?
Yep. My name is Mike Ortega, for those who don't know me. Northern Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers. We formed our club back in 2017, so we're about, this is, I guess, our 9th full season. We host kayak fishing competition events, Northern Virginia area. We fish everything we can from Lake Anna all the way north to Upper Potomac, Shenandoah River, kind of those like Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia border areas. Tidal Potomac we hit every year. And the bigger we get, I say it's a good problem, but we are kind of limited when it comes to some of our venues that we're able to hit, so we definitely focus on those larger bodies of water. But we don't want to leave out those smaller reservoirs. So we kind of formed this thing called the Battle of 5 Lakes, which I think a lot of anglers are really enjoying over the years. We'll hit, some of the smaller reservoirs, we'll pick 5. They're usually the same 5. We've been having talks of maybe switching a couple of them up over the next couple of years, but it gives anglers an option to choose, any of those 5 to fish. It helps spread folks out. It keeps the schedule diverse, that's for sure.
Oh, it really does. And again, guys, I've said 1,000 times on the show, one of the best structured schedules out there is not just fishing on TVA lakes or just tidal water. It is, you have to catch it. If you want to do AOI, you have to catch them at 2 smallmouth events, you have to catch them in 2 tidal events, and then you have lake events. So you are truly an angler of the year, I believe, compared to other organizations where, again, you're just fishing like the Potomac 38 times in a row. It really tests your skill if you want to go to the next level at the Bassmaster kayak kind of trail, dude. And that's awesome that you kind of kept such a diverse schedule.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And that's, definitely something that I think kind of just naturally happened. But I think it just speaks to our area. Mm-hmm. We're such a diverse area in general with in a lot of different ways in life. We're very diverse. Northern Virginia is a melting pot, is what everybody calls it. And it's kind of the same way with the fishing. And like you said, it definitely tests your skills. You're not gonna, you're not gonna catch them all year on live scope. You're not gonna catch them all year shallow. You got to be very diverse and get out of your comfort zone. We do have some of our river tournaments are smallmouth only for a reason. So it really helps you get diverse. Helps you become a better angler overall. And, for the better part of 10 years now we've been doing this, it's never one guy winning them all. It's always somebody different. Every event, every year, we have a handful of guys and gals that do extremely well in the Angler of the Year points and whatnot, but it truly is anybody's game, when we're out there on game day.
How does the club work for people that want to kind of get involved into it? I mean, we had a couple of nice young gentlemen that come by that don't know anything about the kayaking world, so I guess do the spiel on that.
Yeah, man, it's a lot, and I guess maybe one of the biggest things I've been telling folks here at the event is it can seem like a fire hose. It really can. But taking it kind of one step at a time, learning the rules, reading the rules, understanding the rules, is probably the number one. You're gonna need some study time if you're new to this and getting out and wanting to branch out into the competitive world. But I think that's something that is, our club is very down to earth. I think, for lack of better words, very down to earth club. We have a lot of down to earth anglers and people that are always willing to help. And that's what makes our club special. Is it's not just about the tournaments. It's not just about the competition, but it's about the community and about the camaraderie and everything that comes along with that. So we encourage folks to come and ask questions. We have a Facebook group, which is extremely helpful. If you hit the search button on that, you'll find pretty much everything that you're asking for and more. I'm trying to think. Really, like I said, just reading the rules and understanding them, and then ask the questions. There's no question is a dumb question, and if it hasn't been asked before, it's definitely going to help somebody else out that comes along after you. Everybody I talk to says that once they learn the ropes and kind of figure out, things start to become second nature, and they wish they would have done it sooner.
And then for people, I'm going to be sharing it live right now. The schedule is out. March 28th is the Lake Anna opener.
Yep.
April 11th is the Battle of Five Lakes 1. That should probably be explained for newbies there. What does that mean?
So the Battle of Five Lakes, you're going to see on the schedule, you're going to have a 1 and a 2. That's just what we've been dubbing them over the years. I didn't put when I was designing the schedule, I usually just try to work on dates up front, and then I start to spread out the venues and figure out, I ask for input. A lot of folks provide input. It's just not just me making stuff up in my head. If I did that, we probably wouldn't be very successful. But I get a lot of input from the anglers. That we do surveys and things like that, and we sort of kind of figure out what fish is better certain times of the year. And we try to mix it up too, because we don't want it to become stale. But like I said, we're a pretty big club now, so that we're kind of limited on where we can fish as a group. Because again, while everything is virtual, we still always try to have a meetup afterwards and enjoy that camaraderie. But like I said, getting back to the 5 lakes, it's usually 5 southern lakes and 5 northern lakes, oriented in Northern Virginia, right? So when I say southern, it's not like, Smith Mountain Lake. We're talking like southern Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, anything above Lake Anna. We have, for the first batch, it's going to be Lake Mooney, our Hunting Run Reservoir. So some of your local bigger reservoirs. Abel's in there, Mott's is in there, and Nye Reservoir's in there. And I think that's the one we're going to shove up front, because I think last year we started with the northern ones, if I remember correctly.
So we did, so Sleater's Lake was in August. I remember that. So yeah, it was
okay,
May.
So we did maybe do the southern ones in May, but we talked about bumping them up into April.
Yeah.
And to try to hit that kind of that pre-spawn time frame, because we all know there's some really nice fish in those lakes. So we wanted to try to capitalize on that. So that, I think it's going to be a good event. I think you're going to see a lot of big fish caught, a lot of citations, hopefully. And then we have
Shenandoah River in April 25th, and that's small event number 1, followed by the Tidal Potomac May 16th. June 13th is the Rappahannock River. Is that Tidal the whole, or to be determined?
So right now we're shooting for the whole river again. Well, most of the river. Yeah. So real quick to touch on that Tidal Potomac, that's going to be another joint event.
That's important. Okay, yeah.
With Mid-Atlantic, and I think CRM, KBF is going to be in on that as well. And whoever else, any of the other clubs, I know VKAE has been a huge partner for us with that, because we always have a snakehead side pot for that tournament, and they are the snakehead tournament experts, in my opinion. So they always score that side pot for us, which has been a really good success. And an extra $10 gets you in the pot and the running for a snakehead side pot and winner take all, kind of like our big bass winner take all.
Yep.
But then, jumping over to the Rappahannock, the next one, we weren't quite sure about having 2 titles back to back, but that's just the way the schedule kind of turned out this year, because we wanted to work with Virginia Kayak Bass Nation as well, with Sean Boersma. He's been fantastic, and he's really making the VA Bass Kayak Series a big success. And we have some really awesome plans for the future, talking 2027, that I'll tease out at kind of a later date, but no, we're definitely teaming up with them this year. So he wanted to come up here and do the Rappahannock. And like I said, last year we tried to do the whole river, but it got blown out with some weather, so we had to kind of stick to that southern tidal portion. But again, we're shooting for the whole river, so it's going to be smallmouth, largemouth, snakeheads. Heck, we might even do a catfish side pot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because there's a lot of them down there, and I know, it'll bring out a lot more folks too. I think that may be curious about it. So it's trying to make it as big as we can, as good as we can.
Exactly. And again, guys, it's a great schedule. Come on out and take a look at that. And then always championship is in. Well, I just had it on the dang screen. I should probably re-share that thing again. But yeah, we have. There it is. So yep. So Classic is September 26th. It will be the Classic at Lake Anna. We start and end the year at Lake Anna. Again, great time. Lake Anna's been fishing extremely well, and yeah, I cannot say enough about this club. If you want to go check them out, NBKBA is online and on Facebook.
Memberships are open now.
Yeah.
So definitely, check them out. So everything we do, we operate on Fishing Chaos, but all the information that we put out is also available on our website at nbkba.com.
And then the other thing is, I'm going to really lean on Mike because I don't know why this one date is not saying out to me. If you want more information about this and you're in the Winchester area,
21st.
The 21st. February, thank God.
Yep.
So February 21st is the Kayak Show and Expo. It is at Jake's Bait and Tackle in Winchester. Basically, it is a car show. I had this idea way back when of I had some friends that used to do truck shows, and I was like, why don't we do that kayak? So I have multiple divisions, come out, pimp out your rides, eat food, hang out. We can talk to Mike and other club members, cool seminars, go check that out. Go check out, go sign up if you want to be a club member. Tournaments, I think, are, what it was like $60?
They're around 50 or 60.
50 or 60.
And 10 of that's automatically going to the big bass side pot. And again, that's a winner take all.
Okay.
So even if you come out and you don't have success finding 5 good fish, if you catch that 122, that could be in the running for a big bass, and that'll be 10 times however many participants there are. So it's a lot of fun.
That's really
and
cool.
I've been telling folks too, like here at the show, if it's something that you're curious about and you're not quite sure you're ready to take that next step, just come out and fish with us. You don't need to compete. Come hang out.
Yep.
Be respectful of other anglers on the water. If they're competing, but please come out, hang out. The biggest thing is come to the awards and come shake some folks' hands and pick each other's brains. It's just an awesome community.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it lets you stay local and fish some cool bodies of water. The biggest issue I have with bass boat tournaments is you're going to go to the same old cliche spots. You're going to go to Smith and Kerr and Lake Anna. No problem there, but kayaking opens up. Go fish Occoquan Reservoir if you live by it as your home body of water, or Nye. Or it's when I did the list, the tier list this year, and I also did North Carolina this year. I realized, like, holy shit, there's like so many lakes. But because it doesn't get the recognition of Bassmaster, you wouldn't know it. But Virginia bass, I mean, Sandy and Briery, they're not the biggest lakes, but you literally could catch 34 pounds.
Easy.
It's stupid, but that's just our little secret. The Suffolk Lakes area, same thing. It's wild how many cool bodies of water that kayak fishing, kayak tournaments open up for you to do.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
And then the last thing, like, don't be worried. You don't need a $100,000 kayak. John Molnar, I'm talking about you. That is the extreme there, but because there was a nice young gentleman that wants to get into it. We have this guy here. Coleman is somewhere. It looks like a Dick's Sporting Goods kayak, basically, and he wins all the money. No fancy electronics or anything. You don't need it to be competitive against these guys because the schedule is so balanced. So, don't be afraid of any of that as well.
That's a very good point. If you are in the area, if you're around the show, we'll be here for a few more hours. Definitely check out, like I said, big thanks here to Jake's Bait and Tackle. They got a lot of good stuff. Please also run by Appomattox River Company's booth. They've been a huge supporter of our club for, the better part of 10 years. And if you have further questions about the right kayak to buy for yourself or a kid, they're the experts, hands down. So, and they got a lot of cool stuff set up here at the show as well. So if you're in the area, please stop by and check them out.
100%, guys. Guys, go check them out. We're going to take another commercial break before we get on our next guest of the day. Please comment down below what you guys would like to see, and I'll see you shortly.
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia, and Tactical Fishing Company.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show.
And perfect. All right. We are back. We are live here from the final day of the Richmond Show and Expo here. I have on the man, the myth, the legend, one of the growing hottest brands in the Shenandoah Valley area? I guess it was where you're from, at least. I know it's expanding past that. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. Bent Rod Fishing, everybody. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. Tired. Exhausted, actually. But great. It's been a great show for us. Friday blew my mind. Normally it's dead Friday. We were slammed. Like, when they opened the door, we were just like drinking from the fire hose.
That was what's crazy so far. Compared to like last year and the year prior, it feels like everyone was pretty busy, which is a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
Very good thing. Very good thing. Especially literally Thursday when we came to set up, my wife and I had finished moving our last box into our new house. We have been renovating, ripping out carpet and linoleum and moving since December 30th. So we were already just a chewed piece of gum. We put the last box in our new house and then loaded the truck up and drove down here and set up. So being busy distracts us from how absolutely exhausted we are. So that's been a very big blessing.
Where are you moving?
We just bought a house in Inwood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have
so
no
still
idea where
close
that is.
to Winchester.
Okay,
It's
Winchester, got it. Okay.
It's just up 81, about 30 minutes north of
Nice.
Winchester. Yeah.
How long has this been a reality, Bent Rod?
Man, it's been a journey. I started Bent Rod with my brother in 2020, and we were not making anything. It was a drop shipping company. We both had full-time careers, making good money, and we just wanted to do something kind of as a hobby, and I think we made like $500 in the first year, you know, and we split it. It wasn't even a piece. But we were buying lures from China and putting them on Amazon, just drop shipping under the name Bent Rod Fishing. Then COVID hit. I lost my career. He did too, briefly. And we both kind of looked at each other and went, oh, our side hustle just became our hustle. And then I found a YouTube channel, Baker Builds, on YouTube, and saw him airbrushing lures and was just enamored. Immediately rushed to Amazon, bought myself an airbrush, a compressor, a bunch of paints and blanks. I will never forget, I painted my first one, didn't even tell my brother I was doing it. Painted the first one, took a picture of it and sent it to him. I said, hey, I just painted this. What do you think about this for Bent Rod? His response was, you lying SOB. I know you didn't paint that. Where you got that from Jake's, right? And I was like, no, seriously. And I took pictures of like the setup and everything. I was like, I just painted this. Like, check out Baker Builds. He gives you step by step. The dude's awesome. And it's actually not that difficult. And he was like, holy crap. So my brother doesn't do anything half, right? So I went on and got the cheapest this, and he got like the top of the line everything. He got like this big booth, and so we both just started airbrushing baits. Did that through 2021, and then I found Ben Milliken, and he was doing the hover rigs with the juggle minnow with 6 cents, and I was like, I want to try that because I like finesse fishing, and so I started trying the I went to Jake's, bought a bunch of juggle minnows, a bunch of jig hooks, nail weights, and went out to Lake Frederick, and I started doing hover strolling and had some success. Which at Lake Frederick is a big deal, right? If you can go out there and catch some bass,
Huge.
so I was like, hey, sweet. But it was still just for me. I wasn't thinking about selling them. I had made some soft plastics for me, and it was like setting a tire fire in your house. Like, I was just like, I don't want to do this for a living. I just want to paint baits. But then I gave them to my friends, and they were like, dude, no offense, but we're fishing these. Like, I want more of those. Like, I don't need more jerk baits. I don't need more crankbaits. I don't need more poppers. I want more of those. What are you calling that thing? And I was like, I don't even sell it here. And I was just giving them away for a while. And then I found a guy. So at first, I don't know if anybody who saw me in the beginning when I was doing this with the rig, which is just this pre-rigged hover rig, I was actually, it's embarrassing to admit, I found one the other day and I lost it. I'm going to frame it. I was actually taking jig hooks and nail weights and using shrink tubing, like electrician shrink tubing and a heat gun, and shrink tubing the nail weight to the jig hook and loading those into my mold and shooting plastic around it. It was not durable at all. What made me really decide to do this was when I found a guy online, Ross at Custom Bait Molds. He had a lead mold so that I could shoot these jigs. And it's kind of like a core tackle jig. It's the poured lead around the hook shank. And when I saw that, it was just like, oh, hold on. Like, everybody prefers this to my hard baits, and now it's something I can be proud of. I was kind of embarrassed with the whole janky, like, nail weight to the hook shake, you know what I mean? But it is what it worked, so I fished it. But once I got this and realized not only is it better and more durable, but now you can reuse the jig.
Yes.
Like, once the bait wears off, take it off, put another one on, and I was mixing it up. I would go to Jake's and buy, like, a cool bag of crawls that I saw, or just like different beast baits, right? And then just see what they look like on a hover jig. We were testing out every bait you could think of on a hover jig, and I kind of got obsessed with it. When we came here our first year 3 years ago with the rig, sold out by midday on Saturday. And that's when I was like, went home, took all my airbrush and stuff, stuck it in the corner, and just started full time making soft plastic baits. I literally do this from sun up to sundown, 5 days a week. So that kind of took off. Then I created the Mogambo. Mogambo actually took Best in Show here last year. I was shocked.
Oh, cool.
McCotter. I didn't know who he was. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that now because I know he's kind of a big deal around here. I had never met him. I went to the bathroom and I come around the corner and there's this guy with my bait, the Mogambo, out of the package in his hand, and he's taking a picture of it. And I'm like, who is this? Like, this guy's trying to rip me off. Like, I kind of, internally, I was like, I might have to go over here and get swole, you know? I walk up, I'm like, hey, can I help you? And he introduces himself, and as soon as he said McCotter, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. You should know who this guy is, right? And he's like, yeah, this may be in the running for Best in Show. And I'm like, are you messing with me? He was like, no, dude, this is innovative. I love this. This is great. And then I showed him the rig. He goes, oh, crap. Well, now I can't decide. So they actually ended up doing both of them. The Mogambo is what people, so somebody sent him over here. A buddy of his was like, you need to go check out this pre-rig swim bait. This thing is really cool. That's why he came over. And then when I showed him the rig and kind of explained to him what I was doing, he was like, all right, are you free tomorrow? Like, we need to talk. And then when he reached out to me, he was like, yeah, you got it. Best in Show in the soft plastics category for 2025 at the Richmond Fishing Expo. I'm like, what? Like, this no-name guy in a 10x10 that doesn't even have a banner up behind him, and there's like legit guys. I mean, River Rock's here, you know what I mean? There's big companies here that are doing a lot more than me, and I got Best in Show. I was very humbled, but very encouraged, right? And just that kind of set me off. Like, I was like, okay, get out of my way, let's go. Like, that's all I needed was somebody to go, we like what you're doing. Like, this is cool. And now we're growing exponentially. I have my shop, so we just bought a house, which means I have a new shop. And I'm super excited about that. One of the new things for me, and I mean, it's still small, like, especially you're gonna look at it and be like, but my YouTube has kind of taken off for me. I had my YouTube channel for 4 years, and all I ever did was go, hey, look at this bait, it's really cool, or hey, look at this giant fish my buddy caught on my bait. And in 4 years, I had gotten 350 subs. My videos, after like 2 months, would get like 100 views. And then I just had the idea, I was like, you know what, instead of promoting my baits, why don't I teach people how to do what I do? Right? Because there's a lot of guys in this industry that really defend their recipes, and I'm going to catch some flack for saying this, but it is what it is. A lot of guys are like, oh, you know, this is my secret sauce and whatnot, but the fact of the matter is, give me a soft plastic, and I'm not trying to be braggy at all. Give me a soft plastic and give me a day, I'll match the color, right? And I've only been doing this for 4 years. So there's guys out there who've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. Your secret recipe is not secret, man. Like, they can figure it out. We all have the same access to the same pigments and the same glitter and the same highlight powders, and we can look at a glance at a bait and go, oh, that's a hog salad gilly, right? We all know the molds. We all know the recipes. So I was just like, what am I hiding? Instead of hiding it and trying to like protect it, let me give this out. And then my sister, I was telling her about it. I was like, man, I just went, in one video, I went from 350 subscribers to 650 subscribers. In one video, I got like over 300 subs. And my eyes just I was like, holy crap. And I told my sister, and she goes, you need to start giving promo codes out at the end of your videos if people want to buy those. And I did that. 2 weeks later, my website sales were up 687%. And I was just like, oh, I found it. This is the format. And so now, I mean, honestly, I haven't put a video out since we started moving in December, and I just crossed over 1,070 subs. I mean, it's
Well done.
just
Congratulations.
going. It's just going. So I'm all this close to monetizing, and I'm like a 16-year-old girl at a Beatles concert. I'm just like, ah! Oh, it's so exciting. So anyway, that's been really fun and cool. So my shop is not going to be just a shop. Like, it's kind of like my wife. She does it to mess with me. She just calls it my studio because she knows I'm like, oh, don't call it a studio. I'm a guy. It's a shop, you know. But I have like a section where I'm going to have chairs. I'm going to have like local bait makers. I've already reached out to. I think I'm going to have to see if Jared wants to come over and talk to a couple of the kids on Frederick County Bass.
Yep.
And just kind of do like really short like YouTube lives, and just kind of do like Q&As with some of my guys. I had a couple subscribers come here from my videos and go, hey, I subscribed to your channel, man. It's great to meet you. It's crazy. I got 1,000 subs, and I've had 3 people come up and introduce themselves that they found me on YouTube and subscribed to my channel. So that's just really cool. It's been very encouraging. I've actually had a couple mold manufacturers, pigment manufacturers reach out to me and want to sponsor me on YouTube, which is
That's awesome.
jaw-dropping. Like 8-Bit Baits, the guy reached out to me. He's huge on YouTube. Like bait chucking is his channel. 8-Bit Baits is high-end stuff, very high-end stuff. I had never used it because I couldn't afford it, right? I mean, to sell, if you did it for a hobby and just content creation, you can't afford not to use the stuff. It's gorgeous. But if you're doing it and you're trying to make money at it, it kind of does hurt your ROI, right? I mean, because it's expensive stuff, but it is worth it. But I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm there yet to be able to do it. He emailed me and was like, dude, I love your channel, love the video content. I can see you improving on every single video. This is awesome. I'm gonna send you a box. What's your address? Sent me a box of like over $200 value and I could tell he watches my videos because he sends me all purple stuff. He said in there, I know you're addicted to purple. I'm gonna send you everything I have that's purple. So that was just like, I'm just sitting here like in a 2-month period, I went from 350 subs to over 1,000, and now I've got people reaching out to me wanting me to use their molds. Like, I'll send you a mold a month if you'll just promote it on your channel. I'm sitting there going, what just happened? So it's been very encouraging. I'm really excited. Can't wait for my new shop. It's gonna look pretty cool. I've got like black and white checkered floors, and I'm going with the whole like logo, like black and white monotone. The only color that's gonna be in there are the baits and the pigments on the wall.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. It's been very exciting.
It's always, the journey is always amazing, man.
Yeah.
It really is. And I know people online, I know you're clattering. We're going to start showing off stuff to the camera. So let's go for it here. Which one do you want to show off to the fine people at home?
So, being as that the Shenandoah River is my home waters, this is a newer color we came out with this past year with a guy who runs the Shenandoah Valley Bass Brothers, Colt Calville. This is Colt's Creek Chub, and it has been crushing it on the Shenandoah. He had a smallmouth spit up a creek chub on his boat. He took a picture of it and sent it to me. He said, hey, can you match this color? And then that's what we came up with, and he's been crushing it on that, and especially in the spring and summer.
That's beautiful. Wow.
And then one of my other pro staffers, and I've sold out of it in every other bait but this. That's why I brought this one over here. His name's Ron. He's been here with me. It's called Morning Ron, a hot pink back and a pearl white belly. That is one of the newest colors we have that's just on fire. Ron never takes it off, his rod. He's constantly got that. And mainly in this bait, though. I sold out of it, so I couldn't bring it over here to you. But my newest bait, the River Rig, which is the rig shrunken down to a 3-inch profile. Most of the guys are putting those on drop shots or like ball head jigs, and a lot of the guys that really love them are scoping. They love shaking that minnow in front of a bass's face. This is one of the first colors I did on YouTube that's kind of blown up for me, called Shimmer. It's kind of like a baby blue back with a clear belly with holographic flake in it. That's been a pretty popular one lately as well.
And then, guys, I'm going to take out the package just so you can. So just so you guys can get more of a visual eye on it, it's honestly taking it's not overthinking and keeping a simplistic, like, duh, why hasn't someone thought of that, and just it is, but you can tell right there. And I'll just let you talk about the design. There we go, perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that, molded right into the bait, giving you that hover style.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so the mold has magnets in it that holds that hook in there, and it sandwiches it perfectly between the left and the right side of the bait. So every single bait, that hook is positioned in the exact same place, perfectly balanced. So when you buy a bag and then you come back to Jake's a week later and you buy another bag, you can know each bait is going to act exactly the same in the water because that mold holds those hooks in exactly the same position. Versus threading them on yourself. And I'm sure you got guys out there who've been doing it for 30 years and they're like, well, that's no big deal. But for me, I suck, especially at thin baits like that. Threading like a cord tackle, like when I used cord tackle jigs, and I love them. I'm not talking any smack about cord tackle jigs. They're awesome. But I went through so many plastics just trying to get the jig on right. Because if you don't do it right, you have to back it out. You just destroyed that fluke. I mean, you got to grab another bait. So this has been really popular. I sell these without the jigs in them. Jenny actually called me. She's like, hey, a lot of guys want to use these like as a chatterbait trailer or nose hook. Daniel Litwin goes on the Shenandoah and nose hooks them. He's the only person I know that really does it and just destroys. He did a video in the summer. I think it was like the only baits you need this summer or something. And he had a local guy in Winchester, Shenandoah jigs, Shenandoah tackle, Shenandoah something. Cody, I think is his name.
Cody, yeah.
Really good stuff. He's a cool guy. I met him at one of our tournaments. He was putting my unrigged on the same color custom that he had that guy made for a chatterbait and was just crushing with it. So he uses it as chatterbait and a nose hook, and he says he just rips it, like rip, and then lets it stop. It just kind of flutter like it's struggling, and the smallmouth just inhale the thing. So I love hearing the different ways that people fish these. Like every now and then somebody comes up and goes, oh, I like to take like I had a guy yesterday tell me to take he likes to take a hit on these, the river rigs. He takes his, and he doesn't put the hook shank in the middle. He tries to almost get it right up at the top, so most of the bait is below the hook shank. He says it causes it to roll more. And so when you're kind of doing the little Alabama shake, it gives you a more exaggerated roll. I'm just like, learning something new.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. That's awesome. So yeah, I love that stuff. People reach out to me all the time. Hey, have you ever tried it like this? Or these on the Z-Man Micro, like those super tiny micro chatterbaits fit perfectly for like crappie and trout and stuff. It's a really good fit.
Dude, that's awesome. So people, again, guys, if you're not, come on down to Richmond Expo, right here next to Dick's Bait and Tackle. If you guys can't make it, where can people find your products?
BentRodFishingUSA.com is my website. I'm at Jake's Bait and Tackle, and I'm at Hoffman's in Berkeley Springs, and I am in a tackle shop in Kirkwood, Pennsylvania. Jim's Live Bait and Tackle. Jim Neary's Live Bait. They're actually here. They're the favorite rod dealers. They carry me as well. I am looking for more retailers, so if there's any tackle shop owners out there that want to take a chance on a guy who's trying to stay innovative and, do something. I'm doing this full time, and I'm looking. I do 40% off. Actually, today we have 40% off going. I'm trying to clear out. My shop is moving from like the basement, like away from family, to main level.
Awesome.
Like it's going to be 20 feet away from the kitchen. And LureWorks just came out with a new plastisol that is virtually odorless. So I'm switching over to that so I don't stink out so my wife doesn't divorce me basically.
Awesome.
Because of making my baits. So I want to get these out so that all of my baits are made with the same plastic. So we're doing a huge sale today. So if you come to the booth, we're trying to get rid of them.
Awesome stuff. Guys, go check him out. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking crappie fishing here shortly. So come on out, check it out, and we'll see you guys soon. All right.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing in the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia, and Tactical Fishing Company.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Alrighty guys, we're here finishing up here the great time we've had at the Richmond Fishing Show and Expo. It has been an amazing event with tons of great booths and guests. We're going to be getting a couple more people on as we go through this year. We got so much to still cover. So if you guys want, please comment down below. Let me know what else you'd like to see here at the show. We got some pre-recorded episodes that are kind of already been done that will be coming out the rest of the week. We might be doing another walkthrough. Might have a couple more surprises for you, but we're gonna let you know as we go here. But again, I just want to thank everybody for everything that they did, their time, their effort, and putting this event together. It's been an absolute blast to see everybody here. Please, 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 if you could comment, like, subscribe to the channel, it really helps out in the algorithm. If you are interested in sponsoring the show and you want to get some marketing promotion, please reach out to me, fishingthedmv@gmail.com. You can also message me on social media. We would love to partner with some people this year and going forward. And if you'd like to, you can join our Patreon. We have a ton of great gifts, giveaways, contests, and just so much more. So please go check that out. It helps us keep the lights on. And yeah, thank you so much. And we will see you guys this week on Fishing the DMV. Bye.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon Club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much.
Oh, there he is now.
Well, I can't watch you while I was talking.
Oh, sorry, I texted you. So,
He can jump on. Let him
you
jump
sure?
on.
Okay, I know you want your time in the light, but yeah.
No, it's all right. That's cool.
Come on down.
Good. I can come back later.
No, we got it. Come on. I know
come
you got.
on.
I know you got a seminar to do. You know. So, quick commercial break, guys. Nah.
How y'all doing? I brought some unorganized stuff.
That's a kayak? Perfect. All right. All right, guys. And if you need to, you can put the headsets on so it's easier to hear me, but you don't need them. All right. All right. How's the volume there?
That's good.
Is it good? All right. All right, guys. Let me clap one more time, make sure I get this all synced up in post-production. Okay, guys, we're live. We have one more guest that we're going to be doing for the live stream here, and then this will be probably up. This will be uploaded separately too. We have the man, the myth, the legend. Josh Morse, the founder, president. What is your role for the Richmond Crappie Club?
I just say founder.
Founder?
I think
Okay.
founder works. I started it and I run it. We don't have any specific titles, so president works.
Is this your first year doing the seminars and everything?
Yeah, the first year doing the seminars. I've been at the expo quite a few times, and I've helped out with dances, their booth. Last year was the first year, but first time doing the seminars. It's been a lot of fun.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. We got a lot of good questions. One thing I was thinking about, you and I were talking yesterday, when I polled Facebook to see what should I talk about related to crappie fishing, a lot of my friends responded, which a lot of them do a lot of crappie fishing, and so they wanted specifics of live scope. And now doing the seminars, there's a lot of people that want to get into crappie fishing, and a lot of those folks don't have the same electronics and the same boat setup that I do. And yeah, hopefully we'll talk about some of that today.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, so what this is going to be doing is this is our third conversation about crappie fishing, going from, the old school way of doing it. We had the two guys that basically just destroyed the Virginia record for the biggest bag of crappie. And now I thought we kind of just give him a prep for his last seminar of the day, talking about basics about how you catch crappie if you're trying to get into it. So, yeah, I mean, dude, how would you do it for your seminar? Take it away.
Sure. I brought a bunch of unorganized tackle. I need to organize this. But the most basic setup for crappie fishing, I think, is a slip bobber, and it's probably one of the most effective ways. I feel like a lot of people that start off fishing for any species, it's probably fishing a pond and fishing for bluegill. A lot of people are going to have a worm on a hook and a bobber, right? And crappie fishing, you can start off pretty much the same way, but when you're fishing a pond, usually you have a fixed bobber. You don't have a slip bobber. So I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with slip bobbers. If you're not, there's a bunch of different styles that you can use. Like if you've got the camera here. So this is a style I like to use with Phil balsa wood quite a bit. Your line goes through the top, and this can slide up and down your line. So you can fish with a bobber and have your bait set at 20 feet deep if you want to. That's a good way to do it. Now, the way I typically rig it, I like to use these yarn bobber stops. And so the first thing I'll do is I'll take the line. A good all-around line to use is, I think, 6-pound test. I really like the slime line. It's the super stretch. Sometimes people like to use the high vis. That's another good option too. But take your line, go through the plastic, right? Pull it through, slide your bobber stop off, get rid of the plastic, and pull these ends tight, right? Then you'll take your scissors, and you're gonna cut the tag lines off, right? You don't want a lot sticking out because this is gonna go in your reel if you're fishing really deep water. All right, so now you've got your bobber stop, got it looking like this. A lot of times I'll wet it down. It makes it so it slides a little bit easier, and it's less likely to cause friction on your line. So you can slide this up or down and adjust whatever you want it to be. The easiest way for me a lot of times, I'll do like an arm length, and that's every 2 feet. So I'll pull the line, I'll pull the bobber stop 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and keep going like that. Or I'll use my rod length. You may have like a 6-foot rod, and then I'll just go have the bobber stop at the top of the rod, and then the line at the bottom. I know that's 6 feet. I can do it again if I want it to be 12 feet, or I can do it a half, and now I know I've got 6 plus 3. However you want to do it. After you have your bobber stop, go through your bobber. All right, there you go. So this is going to slide up and down. All right. Then I like to use Aberdeen style hooks, or like an eagle claw hook or something like that. I generally use pretty small hooks. I think that is a size Might be a size 6. Yeah, pretty small. If they're biting really good, I may use something like a size 2. But when you really need to finesse the fish, I think the smaller hook's the way to go. I like to bend these out because I want the hook either straight out or I want it tilted up just a little bit. So when you do that, be careful. I don't like to use pliers when I bend it out because sometimes you risk doing damage to the tip of the hook itself or the barb. I'll just go on my tackle box and just kind of bend it out. So now you've got it a little bit straighter than how it comes out of the box. All right. I don't get too fancy with the knot that I do, especially if you're fishing with a minnow. Run this through. Gonna have to edit this out. Wet the line, pull it tight. I don't mind having a little tag end on the end. Normally something like this, I would cut it so I may want like a 1/4 inch sticking out just in case the line slides a little bit. This is the basic setup, but you also want to use a piece of split shot. All right. Take your piece of split shot, depending on where you're fishing. If you're fishing in like heavy brush or something like that, then you may want that split shot really close to your hook. Like you may want it like 3 inches away. But if you're fishing an area that gets a lot of pressure, you go to Lake Anna, you fish a bridge, you may want it a foot away. So that minnow is going to look really natural. But generally speaking, I'm going to put it probably about 4 to 6 inches away. Something like that. I'll get my pliers, squeeze it down.
We had a question come through on Instagram. How heavy is the split shot you want to do?
So I was going to follow up with that with, here's a couple other style bobbers that I like to use. I buy these online, Stan's bobbers. I don't know if you can see the size of these and feel the weight difference on these. Feel like the weight of that one, and then feel that one right there. That's designed for a 1/32 ounce weight. That is. Right? This is designed for a 1/16. And when you've got a 1/16 ounce weight with that, it is going to be barely buoyant.
Wow.
I like to use these still hooks when most of the time, especially if I'm running guide trips and the bite's pretty good, because they're a lot easier to see, right? But the weight to the bobber balance ratio that you want to have, if you ever bobber fish and you see that bobber bounce, and then you see it bounce, and it bounce, it's either you have a really lively minnow and it's trying to swim away from something, which that's a good sign, or it could be a bad sign. It could mean that a fish is coming up and grabbing that minnow, starts to pull it, feels the weight resistance, let's go. A lot of species of fish behave similar in aspects. Like when I started bass fishing, I had a bad habit. I'd keep a tight line, if I'm fishing a plastic or something like that. And I've heard a lot of people say you want a little bit of slack in the line. You want that fish to grab it. If they feel the resistance, they're more likely to let go. I think the same is true with this, with crappie fishing, that you don't want them to feel any resistance. As soon as they feel the resistance and realize something's up, they're going to let it go. So that's where I like to use these small bobbers. Or I don't get too caught up in the size of the weight right here. I couldn't tell you what number this is. You might have a better idea than me, Thomas, but it's probably like equivalent weight to like maybe a 1/16.
Yeah, 1/16.
Probably something like that. Now, the heavier weight you have, the quicker your line's gonna get down. That's the thing with a lot of other styles of slip bobbers that I don't like, is that it takes so long for the line to go down. Like you have to sit there and wiggle the line. And if you have a little bit too heavy of line, like you're using 10-pound test or something, it's going to be really hard for the line to slide through that bobber. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic setup that I like to do. Now what I'll do, like if I didn't have live scope, I didn't have a fish finder, didn't have anything, I'm looking for the warmer months where I'm going to be using this in general. unless you go somewhere where it's fairly clear, like Lake Anna, like those bridge pylons, a lot of crappie stay on that year round, so you can fish there. But some of the other bodies of water, like in the Richmond area or down at like Bugs Island, you're going to see they're going to be more related to the cover during those warmer months. And that's when it's a good technique to learn how to use a slip bobber. So you might take 4 rods with you, and say you're fishing 12 foot of water, you may have them set up at, okay, here's one set at 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, and just throw it around a piece of structure, right? And then just see which one gets hit, and then you can know, all right, I'm going to adjust everything at that depth. So even I was talking to a couple yesterday. They said they're like, we've got a $100 fish finder. It's I'm like, so all you're seeing is water temperature and depth. And I'm like, that's fine for this. You just need to know what depth range you don't want to cover. If I'm taking 4 rods, if I'm in 15 foot of water, I may have a different gap. It's the water clarity. Depending on the water clarity, well, if the fish can see 3 feet, well then probably want to put your bobbers like 3 foot apart in an area, different vertical depths. So there's a lot of things you can do. Even before I had any fish finder at all, I would go there. I'd put my hand in the water. It seems crazy, but like, if you want to have a general idea of what's the water temperature like, that's like the very basics. If you're out there in a canoe, you just go to a campground or something like that, and you want to catch some fish, get an understanding. And then even now, I'll catch myself doing it like I'm in tune with what the water temperature is because I see it on my screen all the time. But I'll put my hand in the water because I want to be in tune with what I see versus what I feel. So if I go somewhere and I don't have it, where it cuts out or whatever, I've got a better feeling for it. So.
We had a question here on Instagram. Is it better to have it set a little bit lower or a little bit higher in the water column? And that's from Tom Blair 93. So I'm assuming, I'll rephrase your question there, Tom. Do crappie feed up more or feed down more?
So, in general, crappie are more likely to feed up. However, they will feed going down. But where you want your bait set, you always want your bait set either above them or at them, but never below them.
Okay.
Yep, because I've had times where you get the split shot comes right down past them. They'll go over and they'll hit the split shot. Now, most of the time when I'm using a bobber, I want it to be above them. And I like to have my bait as far above that fish as possible while it's still being able to see the bait itself. Because if you put it right in front of that fish's face, that's not really a natural presentation of the bait. You want that crappie to see the bait from a distance away and say, okay, I need to ambush that bait. Not, it's right on my nose, I get a chance to study it. I'm going to look at that hook and I can see the split shot. You're just less likely to catch the fish. The exception would be, we went up to Ohio, up to Lake Erie for a crappie tournament about 1.5 years ago, and we started off having the bait above the fish. We were throwing slip bobbers underneath docks, and we had it up above them, and they were very in tune with it. If there was just a little bit of resistance, they would let go. They'd pull it and they let go, pull it and let go. So finally, we started putting the split shot further away. We caught a few fish, but you see, if they pulled it down at all, they'd let go. So then we adjusted and we put the bait right in level, in line with them. And then we started to see, you would notice the bobber go sideways just a little bit. It's like, okay, that fish has it in its mouth. And I don't know how long it's had it in its mouth. And there's a greater chance that the hook ends up deeper than you want it to be, but we were catching the fish. So, another thing about the setup, I use gold hooks a lot. Every once in a while, I do think there's a chance that a red hook may be better. Jury's still out for me, but just another thing to look at and try.
When it comes to rods, I know this is something where, after talking to so many of you guys this weekend, you're going 10, 11, 16-foot poles. If you are just starting out, you're not a professional crappie fisherman, can you get away with just going to Walmart and getting an ultralight or something like that, or is it really important to have that specific rod?
So when I talk about equipment, that's a good topic to bring up. To catch a crappie, you don't need anything fancy. I mean, you can catch it with a cane pole in a canoe or off the bank. Like, that's it. But every little thing you do makes it just a little bit better. So if you've got a better quality rod, you can feel the bite a little bit easier, or, getting that fish in, it's got the right amount of play, right amount of action, that's going to help you out. What I tell most people is start off, make it simple. Like, if you're not sure, like, what level you want to get into and how much you want to invest, just get some cheap rods. That's fine. The thing I will say to some new people, if you're slip bobber fishing, having one longer rod is pretty nice. If you get somewhere where there's like a lay down or something like that, sometimes it's nice rather than throwing your bait across like a piece of wood and having to get your bait back and get hung up frequently. It's nice to have, if you've got a 13-foot rod, you can just reach out and just dip the bait right down, and then pick it up and dip it somewhere else, pick it up, dip it somewhere else. You know, you're dropping straight down and straight out rather than having to drag it across. That's pretty nice. Or you go to like a bridge or something like that, and then you're kind of sticking it in between the pilings, slide it out, stick it between the pilings. Or it could be hard to cast underneath the dock with a slip bobber. You can get that longer rod and you kind of push it in there a little ways and pull it back out. So there's definitely advantages to it. I tell people there's pros and cons to every type of rod. I really like the ACC rods. I really like the 13-foot rod. It's very versatile. You can use it for like a lot of different ways. But get one. I see some people that'll just buy like 4 rods. Hopefully Dances doesn't hate me for saying this, but buy one and try it out. Because I think if you get one rod, you'll go back and you'll buy more and you'll like it. But starting out, don't invest too much money until you decide that's the technique you want to do. Or like, you know what, I think it'd be better for me if I had this length rod, or make adjustments, because every rod company is very different.
When you're in a boat, I know it's kind of different than a bank. So how many rods do you think a person could comfortably use on a public pier versus when you have a boat fishing a tournament? Is it the same amount of rods, or is there more of a comfortable set when you're dragging it to and from a public area?
Whenever I used to fish from the bank, a lot of times I'd take 3 rods. I have 3 different setups. So depending on where I was going and the style I wanted to fish, for me, a lot of times if I was going to fish somewhere, I might take 2 slip bobbers and I might have one that I cast. You know, I'm going to have a 1/16. So then I've got my bobber sitting out there and I'm casting with the others, so it's more active. It's a little bit, more fun. Mm-hmm. If I'm on my boat, I take probably twice as many rods as I need, if not more than that. But I've got so many different styles of rods, so many different rod companies. I just want to be prepared for a tournament for any situation that comes across.
Minnow fishing. Is there any tips and tricks when people go pick up minnows? Do you do it the day before, the day of? Keep them, in a refrigerator? Keep them chill? Like, what would you do for a beginner?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first minnow bucket that I started out with, I just had one of the small ones. It was a Fraybill. I think it was Engle, actually. It was about this big. Didn't hold a lot of minnows. Like 4 dozen minnows was probably like perfect. And if you've ran out of 4 dozen minnows, you've probably had a pretty good day. It depends on the time of the year. So in the wintertime, I mean, I've got a much bigger, I've got like a cooler, decent sized cooler. And like when I go down to Bobcats tournaments, I'll buy a half pound, which a half pound is like 10 dozen minnows. So 120 minnows or so. That's quite a bit. In the wintertime, when it's so cold outside, I've got my D batteries, and I'll run them and they die, and then I just leave it in there and don't think about it, and they'll stay alive for weeks. It's pretty crazy. In the summertime, they're dead in a day. So I'll in my freezer, I'll have, it's really nice if you've got a small minnow bucket, get you some of the small water bottles, like this size, and then just freeze that, and then you can keep that water cold, because as long as you've got the bubbler, you've got it aerated, you've got something cold to keep them cold, they'll stay alive for quite a while.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Minnow size, does it really matter if you go to your tackle shop and they have 3 or 4 different size minnows to pick from?
I like smalls. I think smalls for crappie fishing are in general better. There's sometimes a lot of tackle stores I'll go to and I'll say, look, can I see your small minnows? Because I want to see, because every once in a while you'll get like a fresh batch and they're tiny, and then I'll ask to see the mediums. And once in a blue moon, I'll get some smalls and some mediums. Most of the time, I'm just getting smalls. The only exception I'll say is went down to Grenada Lake in Mississippi for a tournament a couple years ago.
Oh, cool.
And there, I mean, they were using bass minnows. I mean, they're huge. They just wanted, the white crappie, they just wanted to get their attention. Yeah, and it was crazy there because they didn't want to have a setup like this, because if you've got too big of a minnow, it's a lot harder for that crappie to catch it.
Okay.
And so they would put it on like a 1/8 ounce jig head and just drop it straight down. And then that minnow can't pull that 1/8 ounce jig head that easily. So it's easier for the crappie to catch the minnow. Like that's in a different world.
How long, if you're, I guess, boat versus bank, but maybe it applies to bank fishermen, how long do you give an area before you move when you don't have forward-facing sonar and you're starting out?
Yeah, that's a good question. Confidence is key for any type of fishing. For me, I feel like probably 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Probably pretty quick. I mean, most of the time, because for me, when I'm using live scope, I'm targeting those bigger fish, right? So I'm looking for one particular fish or two particular fish. If I didn't have forward-facing sonar, I'm looking for the schools of fish. You know, I'm looking for something that's got 15, 20, 40 fish sitting in one spot. So generally, if you've got your bait in the right area and there's that big of a school of fish, you should notice something's going on pretty quickly. And I think even if you are in an area where they're not biting that good, you still gave them that opportunity to bite, and maybe somewhere else they're biting better.
Interesting. Wild stuff. Pier fishing. I mean, that is one of the ways, fishing under a bridge or a pier is one of the biggest ways. I feel like those fish are extremely pressured. Any kind of tips and tricks just to kind of get it in their favor to catch one when they're out there?
Sure. Slip bobber's a good way to go. Use a small bobber. Increase the length of the split shot above the hook. Like I was saying, a small hook. I know some people. I had a buddy of mine. What he used to do is he would have one rod he'd throw out. And he would just have a hook and just a minnow. And he would just throw it out. And a lot of times he would anchor somewhere and he'd throw it out of the back of the boat. He'd catch the least number of fish off that, and it was generally his biggest fish because it's just a minnow just swimming, about its way. The other thing I see too. Occasionally, I will downsize my line. I use down all the way down to 2 pound test. I don't think the crappie is seeing a 6 pound line versus a 2 pound line. They've got big eyes. I don't think they're that in tune with it. What I think it makes a difference is the action on your minnow. When it's swimming around, there's the 6 pound line. There's weight associated with it that makes it so the minnow is probably gonna get a little bit more exhausted. But if you got that 2 pound test, that minnow's gonna do whatever it wants to do. Right. So if you're fishing somewhere and you're sitting in one spot, that's a pretty good thing to do. Another thing, if you want to cast, you can do the same setup, get a really small piece of split shot and get a small hook behind it, maybe 2 feet behind it, and cast with that. And then just bring that through the water very, very slowly. And that'll give a different presentation than what most people are doing.
That's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
I guess last thing is I know, guys, if you are listening to this and you're here, you're coming here, your next seminar is at 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, yeah.
3 o'clock, awesome. Baits, you got a couple of tackle boxes there. Any baits, like your top 5 that you'd pick if you're a beginner, just to kind of get into the artificial side of things?
Yeah. I was going to say number 1's a minnow, but artificial, I guess that doesn't count.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah, these are awesome. They catch fish and fishermen.
Okay, I'll hold these up a little closer. What are they?
All right, so most of those are by Nick Taylor's Jigs. Joe Myone makes those. I've got a handful by Silent Assassin Baits. Nick Barnett makes those. And then I think I've got a few Trippy Sticks jigs in there too. PJ Tucker makes those. I've got a bunch of different sizes there. I use as big as 1/8 all the way down to, I got them to tie some 1/80th. I'm going to try it out. Maybe too small, maybe, I guess, I don't know if overkill or underkill is what you'd say, but I do like hair jigs in the wintertime. I think when that tail, when the hair gets wet, it comes to a straight point. I think that makes a big difference. I didn't bring my plastics with me, but I like Bobby Garland plastic baits quite a bit. I know with dances, they've got the 6 Cents baits that Josh Jones pushes quite a few of those. I'm gonna wait till the end of the show. I'm gonna buy a handful of those. I do think sometimes it makes a difference instead of that straight tail to have like a split tail. If you're casting, I do like a paddle tail or a curly tail. I think that helps, but then the fish need to be active enough that you've got a heavy enough weight that you're getting the proper action on the bait. If you've got like a 1/32 ounce on a paddle tail and the paddle's sitting straight, I don't think it looks very good.
Why does pink? It seems like a very crappie thing versus like bass fishing. Like there are some people that make pink baits for bass fishing, but crappie, there's a lot of bright yellows and pinks out there.
Yeah, I sat. Eddie Moody and Freddie Sinclair had their presentation. I sat on that today, and Freddie said he likes to use pink a lot. I don't know what it is. I probably don't use pink as often as I should, but I do think the shade difference between your baits has the potential to make a difference for the fish to notice it, especially if you're not using forward-facing sonar. You want that fish to be able to see it from as far away as possible. And that's why actually why with some of these, like the black and chartreuse, and I got an orange head on it. I got those tied because it's quite a contrast between the three colors. And my thought is hopefully those different shades, that's going to get a fish's attention from further away. But I've seen it when we went down to Grenada. There was a guy, I think he came in second in the tournament, and I saw he was using an orange jig head and just a minnow, just a jig head and a minnow on it. But it was an orange jig head. So that kind of made me start thinking a little bit too. I used to use a lot of lead head, just plain. I still do that, but every once in a while I think maybe it could make a difference.
What about the in the bass shore? You see the jigging minnow kind of set up, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller with those things. Is that something that is caught on in the crappie world, or is that something that was from the crappie world, just that simple just jig head minnow that they cast with forward-facing sonar?
I think it's based. To me, it looks like a crappie bait. When I noticed that the bass fishermen were starting to use that, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense because I catch a lot of bass while I'm crappie fishing, and then I go bass fishing, and I feel like I catch less bass than I did when I was crappie fishing. And I'm like, well, maybe I just need to use my crappie baits while I go bass fishing. So I think it's pretty much the same as what crappie fishermen have been doing. So it's interesting. It surprised me too. I should probably do more variety of species because, like, I've picked up a lot. We went up to Ohio. You see a lot of influence from, like, the Canadian waters and, like, the really clear water and, like, really small baits and really finesse stuff. And I'm like, man, that's probably something we should be trying. We should probably be, on the crappie side, be picking up stuff from the trout fishermen. And every so often, like, you get in the spring when the crappie are just munching and the bass fishermen are catching the biggest crappie and they're catching only big jerk baits. I'm like, should probably be kind of like, rather than just being honed in on, like, these are baits for crappie, probably need to spread in both directions. I should probably go more finesse and probably bigger too.
Question that did pop up earlier on was when does the pre-spawn start? Is it temperature? Is it time of year? Sunlight? When would you consider it being full-blown spawn or pre-spawn? Sorry.
Sure. So I guess I'll say my opinion is on the spawn. I was talking to Freddie. He was talking the bigger fish. What he was saying, and I completely agree. The bigger crappie generally spawn first. They'll push shallower first. He said he starts looking in that less than 20 foot of water, like starting to perch through in the creeks when the water temperature's in like the mid 40s. I'll see that too, but as far as like actively spawning, I would say I'm looking more for like mid 60s, upper 60s. That's when I start thinking about they're in spawning mode. You get in this when 70s, they probably post spawn, but the bigger fish spawn first. I would say, to me, I think a lot of it comes hand in hand. The water temperature, and I think the moon phase will kind of drive when some of those fish are spawning. Like, that's the time they're spawning, as opposed to, like, maybe they don't spawn right now, maybe they wait a week. But it's probably the amount of daylight too. But the amount of daylight also has a big impact, I think, on the water temperature. But normally in Virginia, I'm looking at somewhere like, depending on the body of water, somewhere in that March to April time frame for spawning crappie. I'd probably say your 6-week window is like the last week of March through like the first week of May. That's probably your range of when they're spawning. But I really have only been fishing public water for I guess 8 years now. So I've only seen 8 spawn cycles. So I've gotten very comfortable with live scope and what I'm seeing on there. But as far as figuring out, is it the water temperature? Is it the daylight? Is it the moon phase? And like see like when this is the combo, this is what they're doing. I'm still trying to piece that together. And I talked to a lot of older folks that crappie fish, and they've got it dialed in better, but I think every year they're learning something new too.
What conditions do they tend to suspend? I know we've had a couple of conversations this weekend about, we discovered that they will suspend in 10 feet of water over 40 feet of water. Is that they always do that, or is it a time of year thing? Is it a weather pattern thing that makes them kind of fall into that habit?
So they're cover oriented in the warmer months. So like around the spawn, through the summer, early fall. After that, then you'll see a lot of fish that are roaming. Now, as far as like where they're at in the water column, it depends on the body of water. I think a lot of times when that water starts getting colder, you go from December through like January. I do think that sometimes those fish will start pushing deeper because it's warmer at the bottom and it's colder at the top. But then you get to a certain point where now you're going the other direction. In like February, you start having some of those warm days, and the top's probably warmer than the bottom. So I kind of think that's what will sometimes bring them up a little bit higher in the water column. Like you may find them this time of the year, they may be 15 foot down to 25 foot down or something like that. And in February, you may find them 2 foot under the surface down to 15 foot under the surface or something like that. Now, as far as like, well, why is that fish in 40 foot of water and why is it only 10 foot down? I think they get comfortable with the depth that they're at. And I don't know if it has something to do with the pressure, something to do with the water temperature, something to do with the amount of light, something to do with the amount of like the water clarity, so the amount of mud, and like maybe it's warmer in that muddy water, maybe you get down the lake, maybe it's starting to settle out. I think there's a lot of different variables with that. But what I have found and what I can attest to is that if you find them at 10 foot of water in 40 foot, they're 10 foot down in 40 foot of water. If you go over to 12 foot of water, they're probably going to be 10 foot down. They're probably going to be 2 foot off the bottom. And so when I mark my brush piles, I like to use Navionics on my phone, and so then I can pull it up I'm sitting on the couch. I like to mark, like if I go down to Bugs Island, I'll say, okay, here's a brush pile that's in 20 foot of water, and it's 10 foot down to get to the top of it, and the water level is 296. Here's the water temperature, and here's what I found on it. I've got all these notes, but the main thing I want to see is when I decide later on that I'm finding fish that are 10 foot down, I know they may be at the top of a brush pile that's in 20 foot of water and the brush pile's 10 foot tall. Or if you go somewhere else that you're in 15 foot of water and the brush pile's 5 foot tall, they're at the top. You know, you'll just think about where they're at in the water column.
That's really cool.
So.
Oh, that's really cool. You also have a guide service. How long have you been doing that for?
I started last May, and it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot too. I'll see some clients that they'll start out like I'll try to instruct like exactly how I want them to present their bait, and occasionally they'll do something that I didn't expect. And I usually wait, unless it's something they really shouldn't do. I usually want to see what happens first because it's something that I normally wouldn't do.
Where do you guide, and like how do people get a hold of you if they want a trip?
Yeah, it's in the Richmond area. So a lot of my trips have been on like Chickahominy Lake, Diaskin Reservoir. I've done a couple trips down in Suffolk. I've got at Lake Anna, I'm doing that through the wintertime, scoping trips. And yeah, I've got a Facebook page, Richmond Crappie Guide Service, LLC. Check that out. And my number is 804-968-8963. And just give me a call. I love to talk crappie fishing. Send me a message. Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome stuff. And same thing, if people want to get involved in the Richmond Crappie Club, I'll put a link in the episode description because you guys are your tournament series, because Bob's is now, so your tournament series starts up soon, correct?
Yep. Last Saturday in February, we got our first Richmond Crappie Club tournament, Lake Anna.
Lake Anna? Okay,
Yep,
awesome.
yep.
Is
Should
that
be a good
a
tournament.
public, like you can just, is it an open format
Yep.
or a club, or how does all that work for
Yep,
people?
yep. It's $40 per tournament.
Okay.
Fish one, fish them all. It's up to you. We've got our classic. It's going to be in October on Lake Gaston. You have to fish at least 3 of the 6 events in order to qualify. If you just show up, pay, fish, you're in the classic. The classic, what we do is it's only $40 per boat per tournament. We save $10 from each boat. That goes to the classic to build the fund. There's no membership dues or anything like that. We give away a ton of prizes. I think we've got like 22 sponsors or something like that. We've got a bunch. They give away a bunch of plastic baits, these hair jigs. They give away a bunch of hair jigs. We give away rods, reels, all sorts of stuff. I just want to just grow the club. It's a lot of fun. I mean, people go out, they meet people from the club, and they end up going out on trips together. It's a great group. And even if you're intimidated and like, I don't think I can compete or whatever, I mean, it's only $40 and you get entered, and like people walk like, hey, I got a $100 rod from a $40 tournament, you know, and I didn't even play. I didn't even catch a fish.
Yeah.
Or just show up to the weigh-in, and then you'll wish you had signed up, and you'll sign up for the next one.
Oh, awesome stuff. Josh, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Guys, go check him out. On the re-upload for this massive 8-hour live stream, I'm going to just upload his episode, and there's going to be a link in the episode description to his guide service, the club. Please go check him out, get into crappie fishing. And if you're here, his next seminar is at 3 p.m. So he's got a little bit of an hour break here. Come on down, say hi. Guys, thank you guys so much. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then, yeah, we're going to be finishing up here.
Hey everyone, quick little announcement here from Fishing in the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior Club membership on Patreon is now open to new members. All Patreon club members will receive 20% off their orders to Tactical Fishing Company, 15% off their orders to Super Blue Stuff, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 5% off their order to Jake's Bait and Tackle. You'll also gain access to join 4 month-long fishing tournaments that I'm holding in 2026. Last year, I gave away over $8,000 in cash prizes, plaques, and just giveaways, including a couple of guided fishing trips with legendary anglers like SB Fishing and Ethan Stone, and I'm hoping to blow it out this year as well. You'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, ad-free episodes of the show, and monthly fishing reports, especially for you smallmouth river anglers. I really try to keep you guys up to date on the flow gauges for the different rivers in our area. And there's so much more. As more sponsors come online in 2026, I'm going to increase the benefits to everyone. You get all of this for $8 a month, which is less than a megabass jerkbait or a jackhammer chatterbait. And I'll sweeten the pot. If you sign up for the whole year, I'll give you 15% off your membership. 15% off. Guys, this is just a way I can say thank you to everyone that helps support and keep this show going. Link in the episode description. Thank you so much.